are the chat room. We unstoppable, no be lie. You.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to you, depending on what time it is at your location. My name is LadyMary Boadu, your host for the chat room, a platform dedicated to resolving daily life's issue. And tonight we are looking at reproductive. And I have our guest for tonight, or this evening for us, in Columbus, Ohio, or Eastern Standard Time. I have our guest as ready, so she will do the introduction herself. Um, should I play an intro?
Oh, I don't think it would be necessary, but well, I mean, it's a show, so
I'm
anything.
I'm just messing around. Oh, okay. Yes. I'm getting ready to send out the links, guys. I'll send it in the next few minutes. I was just trying to pull the YouTube link for us. But thank you all so much for tuning in. Without you, we would not have a show. Over here, we do everything education, and our main purpose for having this program or this show is to educate the public, to educate. And so if you follow us, you realize that everything we do is pretty informative, interactive, and pretty educational, just so our families and our friends can, we can learn, and ourselves. I always say that every time I come to the chat room, it doesn't matter what the topic is, it doesn't matter what day, I learn something new. And so I'm honored to have our guest for tonight. She will do that introduction herself. And I actually have a special request from Texas that we might have to play a special intro. But sis, thank you so much for doing this with us. Introduce yourself, your side gigs, everything you do. Just tell us.
Side gigs. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so my name is Mrs. Grace Aidoo, and popularly known as Kaki. Kaki is actually my middle name. Musician, PMHNP. Still a nurse, but I do more of the PMHNP. I hardly work with my RN lately. And then on the side, I make bridal fans, customized bridal fans for a lot of brides. But they don't know it's me, but it's me. Yeah. And what else? Yeah, I'm a mom, a beautiful girl. And yeah, I guess that's it. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Sorry about that. After we spoke, I was thinking through. Thank you so much for joining, Clara. I was thinking through, and I'm like, you know what? It's really indeed a small world.
Mm-hmm.
That truly, if you're not careful, so no wonder why they say, do good at the slightest chance you get. Really, do good, and you might never know. Because I never, I don't know, but I never really. Okay, yeah. After
I
you,
know what you want to say. Like,
yeah,
I mean, we spoke and everything, but it never crossed your mind that it was.
never,
Yes.
and so I'm like, hey, I did not know. Yeah, so guys, I went to the house of the superstar, and I had a conversation and everything with her, placed some orders, and I did not know she was the one. But well, it's a blessing, and thank you for choosing to do this with us. I know people are busy, but at least taking time out of your schedule to do this with us is a blessing. So if you go on YouTube, you would see. I'm trying to pull the song. You know that the only I don't know the words to the song, and maybe I was thinking. I said I might have to let her do my remix to my chat room, my chat room intro.
I mean, the song is actually nice. I was moving my body
you-
when I was playing. So
So
yeah.
I got tired of people flagging my videos, when I use their songs for
Mhm.
intros, and I just decided to write one. And so
Also,
I
you
wrote,
wrote it yourself.
yes.
Nice.
Yeah, so I decided to write one, and then I wrote it, and I'm like, hey, let's have our own special type of, you know.
Wow, that's very impressive.
Yes, she is khaki. Yes, she. Do you guys want her to give us Yes. She said, "Oh my God, yes, it is her." Do you guys want her to give us an intro? I'm telling you, I have a someone from Texas and said, "No way, Kaki's not coming." But this is someone that he's always loved your music, and he's like, "What?
Bless you. Thank
Don't
you
tell
so
me she no, don't tell me she." And I'm like, "Yes." So okay, yes, it says freestyle.
much.
And then there's some about
Yeah, way me too much.
uh-huh.
Winko still.
Too much, yes, of course. Bless your heart. But truly, you know how when you don't know someone, you see them on screens and they are singing, they are stars, celebrities, and you have a perception of these, of
People.
them, right?
Yeah.
But then when you get to interact with them one on one, it's a different thing altogether.
Mhm.
You get it? It's just as I didn't even know you were the one, because sometimes people have, I don't know if I should call it stereotype, or we have a tag for
Mhm.
these people, like, oh, they are like this. How you see them, but no, she is not. Yes, so please, I'm glad to have you do this with us. So we are looking at reproductive health
Yes.
today,
Back to
and
class.
yes, back to class. But I'm waiting. If they come on and ask for you to do a freestyle, we'll go back to freestyle.
No problem.
But let's look at reproductive, okay?
Hmm.
What is reproductive? What's the who's the mom and who's the dad? Like, where exactly are they from?
So, I mean, when we talk about reproductive health, it's very broad, and people tend to just like narrow it down to childbirth, or basically, they just narrow it down to childbirth and pregnancy. But it's more about physical, emotional, it's more mental, it's more of a social well being. And it's related to both men and women. So the myth of is just is focused more on women than men. It's wrong. The myth of is just solely pregnancy related or childbirth related issues. It's also very wrong, basically.
Thank you, Miss Clara. So can we delve deeper into it? Because I know there are different aspects that you wanted to share. You can just
Yeah.
go right into it, and as the questions come, I'll ask them as we
You
go.
stop me and ask
Yes.
them. Okay, good to know. Okay, so then again, back to the board where I talked about the fact that it's not just about pregnancy and childbirth related. It actually includes more, or it's very broad, and it focuses more on things like a healthy puberty and development. We're talking sexual health. We're talking fertility and family planning. We're talking prevention and treatment of infections. We're talking hormonal imbalances and balances, and the both of them. Just basically hormonal balance as a goal. Safe pregnancy, childbirth, healthy relationships, and consent. Also mental and emotional wellness as well. And people tend to not really pay attention to these things until they start having infertility issues, or they feel like, oh, I have pain, or I have menstrual irregularities. Then they start bringing their minds to what they believe is reproductive health. People's minds are narrowed to the fact that if we talk about reproductive health, oh, I'm talking about, for lack of a better word, or this is a reproductive class, so we use the reproductive names or organs as they are. But anytime some people can be narrowed to the point where when you talk about reproductive health, they're thinking, oh, it's about my vagina, or it's about my penis, or but it's broad and it's more dense. And the more you go deeper into it, the more you realize that you're able to even guard yourself, you're able to set boundaries. And it's actually a beginning of self-love, because guess what? That's where most of the things that affect us in the future, in the present, boils down to reproductive health. Also, one thing that I would also like to touch base on is adolescents in reproductive health. So once your child hits 12, 13, there's always this fear that most parents have, like, hey, how am I going to talk about this? How am I going to talk to her about sex, or, things to do and not do, or how to, take care of herself, or most parents don't even know what to do with the new buds that come in the breast for females, and breast care, perineal care, all these things are part of it. And we're coming from a society where it's more or less like you should not be talking about such things with your children, and this culture is affecting our kids in the sense that now they become uninformed, and then or they become misinformed because they're getting that information from friends, they're getting it from social media, they're getting it from pornography, some are getting it from peer pressure. And then also we have the aspect where they're also ashamed to ask their parents about however they feel or the new thing they've noticed about their bodies. And it shouldn't be like that. So I feel like reproductive health, basically to target like all these things, especially in an African culture, we will have to start from like the adolescence stage. That will be the pivot of a better education system when it comes to like reproductive health. Let's not leave it for the teachers or people who are just in a science class that have the privilege to hear about, oh, today's subject is about the vagina or the penis or breast care. It shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't be subject to a medical student. We should be able to talk about these things with our children. That helps them to make better information. It helps them to protect themselves. Helps them to make very healthy decisions. Because if another peer comes and says, "Do it this way," and I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do it this way. My mom has told me how to do it this way. I'm confident in what I'm saying. I've tried it. My mom has taught me, and I know how to do it or handle my stuff better, basically." Also, I believe that these things too can help avoid early pregnancy, because sometimes, and one thing, I'm taking us back to age 5, where I can't remember who, but I think it was there was a theory, psychologist theory, that specified that at age 5, that's how early our kids are able to have sexual feelings.
Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah.
So if that child has been able to ponder on it, or not even ponder, but live with it from age 5 till
Yeah. So now
13, till the point where it's like really surged, and you think about it, you're going on a road where you don't know where to go, and it's foggy. Who are you following? There's no guidance. And that's what reproductive health, education about reproductive health is in adolescence, because you need a right path to follow. And for some of us, we didn't get that path when we're growing up. So some of us probably made mistakes. You learn from your mistake, but guess what? You don't want your kids to go through that. So for me, it's very important to me that we're looking at this or taking this very, very seriously. And also, this also helps them understand the way their body is changing, and also actually help reduce these common problems that we have in our society now, like self-identity problems. Like, if you're able to understand your body, then you get to a point where you're comfortable in your body, and I believe that will really help a ton. And that's why I say that reproductive health also is mental awareness as well. Aside the fact that it's all physical, or narrow to the part that is medical. It's actually much broader. So reproductive education is not encouraging sexual activity. Now that's another myth. However, it is teaching responsibility, it's teaching prevention, and it's also teaching self-awareness. When we look at like female adolescents, for example, we need to be able to teach them like what menstruation is even before they have the menstruation. But most of the time, our parents, for example, me, I would say that when I first had my menstruation, that's when I thought I hurt myself. Like no one talked to me about menstruation. So I was like, oh my God, I'm bleeding. I'm so hurt. But it was menstruation. So some of these things, I feel like you have to be able to speak to your ward or your child before they experience it. That way, especially when you yourself are able to understand the body changes, like the breast parts coming through, or the curves slightly coming through, in the body odor that comes with adolescence. You know that okay, the pimples, like there are signs, there are always signs. Then you know that you have to start that kind of education instead of waiting to see like her in her first period, and then you now have a lot of things to do. You now have to explain what menstruation is. You now have to explain perineal hygiene. You now have to explain what to do when you have this. But if you were doing that talk and that education a little bit at a time, when that child gets into that phase, she's more confident. She knows what to do. Even if you're not around her, she will still have an idea of what to do. So a normal cycle when it comes to menstruation, we expect it to be between 21 to 35 days.
Yeah.
And we want to teach our girls be able to monitor for heavy bleeding, severe pains, missed periods, irregular cycles. Now, the reason why these 4 things are very, very particular is because if it could indicate PCOS, endometriosis, hormonal imbalance, and stress-related issues. So then again, you're also still helping your child or your female daughter to understand her body, to know what is not right and what is out of normal, so she can
Right.
report it early. Exactly.
Yeah.
And when it comes to poor hygiene, I keep talking about perineal hygiene. Poor hygiene can actually increase infection risk, and it's very important that we instill in them the habit of changing tampons or pads regularly. I usually say that it's best to start a child with pads than tampons.
Yeah.
Tampons is probably like,
Yeah.
I see it as a trend that everyone is hopping on. But if you're starting and your child is a virgin or she has hymen, a full hymen, you don't want to be dealing with tampons just because everyone
I
else
want
is
to do
doing.
that. Yeah.
You want to be able
Yeah.
to know that she can actually manage herself neatly with pads before you even introduce her to
Yeah.
tampons. And then also
Yeah.
like avoiding the use of damp products. And there are lots of pads in town, but I would say that there are some that have some kind of so there was a time, I think so many years ago, there were some kind of pads that were released that had some kind of product in it. It had some were made to have like some kind of nice smells. And it showed that people were actually having more candidiasis infection.
Right. Right.
So your choice of pad, basically what I'm trying to say is that your choice of pad is very
Important.
important.
Yeah.
And also you have to also study your flow. Some will naturally have a heavy flow. They don't have endometriosis, but they just have a heavy flow. Then there's some that will be like a medium flow. So your type of flow also determines the type of pad that you need to
You
get.
use.
A pad with a wider wing or a pad that goes all the way up. Now, for people that don't have endometriosis, but they tend to have like heavy flows, they tend to love the menstrual diapers. There's something like that. And it actually makes them comfortable. They're not afraid to leak in public or in class or at a place where they might feel like I'm too embarrassed to stand up
So,
or
yeah.
change, yes,
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Now, another thing too that I will encourage my women or ladies to do is once you're done with your cycle, say your cycle is 5 days or your cycle is 7 days, once you're done, on that day that you realize that your cycle is done, that is the day that you actually, if you need to like you do like a power wash, if I'm saying.
Mm.
Now when I'm talking,
Do a detox.
basically. So if I'm talking power wash, I'm not talking about douching or
Right. Right.
soaps, and I'm talking the fact that like you're really cleaning. Now, cleaning is not just washing the place with water. The vagina, yes, is a self-cleaning organ,
Mhm.
yes, but we're talking about the fact that the areas that start in the pad, like for example, your
Yeah.
pubic hair, now
Yeah.
that hair needs to go
Yeah.
because the hair alone
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
a moist area.
Hmm.
And you're sitting that hair in a pad, that's an
Yeah.
extra moist area.
Mm.
So by the time you're done with your period, if you're
Mm.
not cleaning your area well, that's when you realize that your skin, it kind of, you will have a fungal smell
Mm.
area. So you need to be able to wash it off, make sure like clean,
Clean.
clean the hair, scrap the area, and no soaps or douching inside
Mm.
your vagina, but
Mm.
clean the outer part very well and make sure that you're washing out or if there's anything inside of you, but do not put any soaps or you know people will just like put stuff in there like all the way up. That's not uh,
Yeah.
healthy. That disrupts your healthy bacteria, and we all have a healthy bacteria down there, which is
Of
also known
course.
as flora.
Yeah.
Now, another thing too that can we also need to also look into is nutrition and fertility preservation. I call it.
Mm.
Now, when it comes to like young girls, we should also understand that extreme dieting, um, eating. So dieting is tricky.
Okay.
Me.
You're good.
Excuse me. So when it comes to dieting, you can diet and it can boost your fertility. Then
Okay.
you can go up over and aboard and do like an extreme dieting, and that will actually flip it in reverse. So it's tricky.
Mm. Okay.
So and that's why sometimes for people who do like very extreme weight loss journeys, they tend to have like future fertility issues or like their hormones are imbalanced for a while. So you notice that someone is probably doing let me just say tirzepatide or this GLPs, and then for a moment the blood is, if their cycle was 21, probably will be maybe 24, or maybe
Mm.
it could be earlier. That's literally ways you know that okay, your body is sensitive and stuff like that. You need to pay more attention to what you're doing to yourself, especially if you have plans of like um trying to conceive and all of that. So all these things are factors that actually could affect that as well. Then
Mm.
there's eating disorders, obesity, poor nutrition. The kind of foods that our parents and grandmothers met when they were young is not the kind of foods that we're meeting now.
Yeah.
Typically, most of our foods are like are under preservation.
Mm-hmm.
They
Yeah.
have some kind of agents that don't help some women, it helps others, but doesn't help others, basically. So you tend to realize that PCOS has become very common in our society. Before it wasn't like that. Endometriosis is now also very, very common. Before it wasn't like that. So we need to be paying attention to what we're putting inside of us. Remember, our bodies are very sacred, and whatever we put in is what it will give us back. So we need to be paying attention more to what we're putting into our bodies. When it comes to reproductive health, there's some kind of vitamins that you want the foods that you put into your body to be able to give you some nutrients like iron, folate, vitamin D, calcium, protein. You're looking into that. Now let's talk about males, male adolescents, from male adolescent to manhood,
So
basically.
man, yeah. I was gonna touch on something real quick before you move on to that, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm so big about educating our children super early.
Mhm.
My third one is 6, and she already knows that in case of emergency, what to do in terms of menstrual cycle. And I have parents, so sometimes I do these short videos trying to educate people, and I've had parents talking about how difficult they think it is to really start engaging children in these conversations. And I tell them, I think what our problem usually is, we think too wild about the subject matter. So I tell them, start where the child is, start at their level. So sex education, it can everyone has their level. So I tell them, start with a good touch, start with a bad touch. And I am such a big advocate on not using pet names when it comes to your body organs. Call them as it is. Because I know that perpetrators and all these people, abusers and all that, they are fond of giving children these pet names, funny, funny names. And so I am big on, if it's a vagina, call it vagina. If it's breast, it's breast. If it's penis, it's penis. It's not tutu, it's not doo-doo, it's not any of that. I think that also help. So for parents that may be listening and you're thinking, it's too early to teach your child, based on where they are, or you think that, sometimes Africans would say, oh, you don't want the child to be spoiled. And I tell people, you would be surprised the things your 5-year-old know that you don't have the slightest clue. These children are smart, and they learn a lot from outsiders. So I always say that be your child's first teacher. Be the first person to be able to teach them these things. And parents, this is the time to get as close as you can, whether you're father or mother, close as you can to your child, so that when they go out there and hear whatever, they come to you. So my children in my home, it's either penis or vagina, it's nothing else. And they went to one of my friends, and I guess she my 16-month-old was watching the brother. He was in the bathroom, and I think the lady said, hey, close the door before your sister watch your bolo bolo or something like that. And so my children came and they were like, my daughter was like, hey, close the door before Phoebe watches your bolo bolo. And I turned like, wait, what? Where did you hear that? Then my daughter, they started laughing, and they said, well, this so and so person said this. But at least they were like, she calls it that, but at least they know. And it sounded strange to them, right? Because we don't use that. We use the real name. So to your point, it's never too early to really start teaching your children, to call their body organs as they are, and then the menstrual. I remember when I started my period, I didn't even know anything about period, because I live with people who claim that, in Ghana we say mebumensa or something. And this girl we lived with at that time, she kept saying mebumensa. And I'm like, I'm literally thinking like, like literally she's broken something. And she told us that her palms were red because she was on her period. Now only to find out that like periods have nothing to do with that. When I first saw my menses, all my mom did was, I remember she said, have you seen yourself? I'm like, seen myself about like what? Because I didn't even know my clothes was messy, right? Thankfully, it happened at home overnight whilst I was sleeping. But that's how she taught me, if we consider that as teaching. She just said, have you seen yourself? Go take a bath and use this. She gave me a pad, and that was it. Like no other education, nothing. And I think that has been the story of most of us. So now we can do better as parents. So we are learning from, learning to unlearning to relearn and all that as parents. So that's just to your point. I'm such a big advocate that parents should teach their children as soon as they can, because children know more than you think they know. But go ahead.
I actually agree. And for us as parents who probably went through that, I would say that it's actually very difficult too, because you didn't have or we don't have anything to fall back on and say that this is the best way to educate. So we're also learning from our ways of educating our children and on learning that, okay, maybe next time I shouldn't do this. Maybe I should do that. So kudos to any
Okay.
parent out there that is handling an adolescent. It's not easy.
Let
And
me see.
yeah, take your flowers.
I think I have comments here. Let me read them real quick.
Okay.
Clara says that sometimes we don't know that we have that issue until we get to that phase of trying to have a kid. It's true.
Mhm.
And then Professor Felix says, too much kaki says I'm your number one fan, educated.
Thank you.
Okay, so he has a question here. It says, when it comes to women reproductive health, should men be involved or excluded? People will say men don't know anything about women, and it comes out as offensive. However, I'm sure men can give advice to women, especially what we see, notice, or smell about the woman. Just a thoughts. Kaki is my number one. That's how story. Yes, thank you.
Thank you. So just like I said in the very beginning, that reproductive health, that the myth that is tailored to only women is, is just so wrong, and it's not true. It's both ways. Unfortunately for us, we come from a culture that, the man's duties outlined, the woman's duties are outlined, and I want to believe that that's how this got mixed up somewhere along the line. However, we're in the 21st century, and a lot of things are evolving. People are learning every day. So it's our duty as providers to let people know that, hey, it's not just about women, and that is also about men. Think about it. How is it that a man doesn't understand or doesn't want to learn? And this is to Clara, yeah, that doesn't want to learn anything or doesn't want to know anything or smell anything, just like she was saying about reproductive health. However, when it comes to their woman, they know when she's menstruating next, when she's ovulating. Like, it's not, I can't seem to hear you, Mary. But then I would say that it's not just,
I'm agreeing with what you're saying.
you know, you don't want to learn about the actual main things, but then just probably 1% fraction of the major thing is very important to you. Like, oh, she's menstruating in the next 2 weeks, or she's probably ovulating. That's just a portion of it. But I give kudos to men who know when their women are menstruating, clock it. So, though it's 1% of the whole, fraction. Talking about male reproductive health, straight from adolescence to manhood, I'm going to start from the hygiene. Just like we talked about the fact that for women after your menstrual care, you have to clean up. Men take pride in keeping hair, like pubic hair in the armpit or pubic hair down there. Um, well, they keep it clean. I will speak for every man. I don't want to, but there's to a point where you have to realize that just like it's a base for moisture. If you've ever heard of jock itch, it is the easiest way to get a jock itch. Keeping or over keeping hair, pubic hair down there, it gives you jock itch. That's also fungal. If someone is wondering what jock itch is, it is fungal, and it comes with a smell. You realize that your boxes will have some smell, and your groin area is probably always sweaty. If you sweat a lot and your groin area is sweaty and all of that, you need to be in the tendency of, like, taking away old hair so you can keep at least new hair. Don't keep one set of or section of hair for 10 years, 5 years. No, don't do that. Also, one major thing that I want to tackle when it comes to male adolescents is the fact that always checking those testicles. You want only 2 testicles in your, what we call the sac area, or what we call the balls. You don't want more than 2 balls down there. If you have more than 2 balls, contact your reproductive or your OBGYN, your obs and gynae provider immediately. Now, one thing that I should mention is that as a man or a woman, you should have your OBGYN. Don't wait till you're trying to give birth before you start looking for one. You should have one just like the way you have a primary physician. That way, when you have any problems related to down there or, reproductive area, you know your go-to person. And it's also as very important as your primary physician. So when choosing one, take your time and find a good one. Things that you want to be looking out for, that the balls in the sac is more than 2, is swollen. You also, or there's pain, you want to report it because early detection will save lives. You're checking for lumps. If you find out that the skin are, how do I put this? The skin of the sac looks abnormal than normal, go get it checked. Now, there are also some kind of behaviors that can actually affect.
So what does abnormal, like how can you tell? Because already that sac, I mean,
It looks
it's
saggy, right? It
right.
looks
So
saggy and it looks like almost like it's wrinkled. That's
yes,
because they're not in an action of
yes, right,
sex,
right.
right? But when they're in an action of sex, it looks a little bit tender. Now, so the point is that when you're in sex, it's tender, and when you're not in sex, it's wrinkly or like a
Yeah.
deflated balloon. So now you're not in sex, you're living a normal life, and it's always tender. That's something to be concerned about.
Okay. Okay.
That's something to be concerned about. Or you find out that you're in so much pain that you can't walk the normal way you walk. It's like once your legs rub, you feel very uncomfortable.
Okay.
That's something to look
Okay.
out for. Are your testes descended? That's also something to look out for. But that one you probably need an expert to feel your balls
I
and
feel
find
it.
out if it's descended. Yes. But lately there are also teachings, just like the way we're taught to do breast care and check
Right.
breast
Check.
lumps. There's
Yeah.
also teachings like that on how to, check the sac for descended testes. And also you're also expecting only 2 balls. You're not expecting anything more than 2. If you have 1, you should get it checked. If you have 3, you should get it checked. Don't say that because you're expecting 2 and you have 1, you're okay.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So someone with one cannot produce.
Right now, if you want us to talk fertility, let's talk fertility. So if you want us to talk fertility, there's a lot of things out there that can help anybody conceive.
Just for maybe somebody's listening and their guy has only one. I mean,
There is a possibility because
should that scare them away?
well, it might not be natural, but there is a possibility, and that's why I'm saying that there are lots of
Okay.
things that can help.
It can help you. Yeah.
Exactly. There are a lot of health fertility treatment that can help. And science has made it so easy for some people that, for example, are probably sickle cell, and then they're also getting married to someone who is sickle cell. They're able to at least still get married, but they know that if they have to conceive, it will have to be through IVF.
Okay. Yeah.
It
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
never be the
I
natural
mean,
way.
the
Why?
natural way.
Because IVF is able to detect the sickle
Right.
ones
Right.
and take them out,
Take
and
them
then
out.
use only the normal ones to, conceive for
Yeah.
you via the lab and, blastocyst and whatever before putting it back in for you.
Someone has a question for you, but let me read. Professor Felix was agreeing with what I said earlier about parents, teaching your kids, letting them know what it is, like tell them the truth and not give them stories or lie. He's saying that when he was a kid, he asked an aunt of his, about how children are born or are made, and she gave her own illustration, but he apparently it has been an inquisitive or a curious child from beginning of time. So he went and did his own homework, and even before the age of 5, he knew what or how children I made. So,
Mm.
hey, yeah. So parents, please don't think my child don't know. Don't say my
Yes,
child is innocent.
or too young for this conversation.
Yes, teach them.
Conversation is adult conversation.
Yes, teach them.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much, Doc, for that. And it says, even for men, it says the semen color indicates something about your body.
Mm-hmm. That's
About your
true.
body
That's
and health.
absolutely true.
Let's take care of ourselves. Yes, prioritize your health. Let me ask this. There's a question on WhatsApp, but I think she's referring to Professor Felix's question. It says that, so what exactly should a semen really smell like? Does it have specific smell?
It does. I don't want to be too raw
Oh
on
no, but it's it's
life
it's
stuff,
it's, it's learning.
but
We're learning.
I know last week you talked about sexual health.
Hmm. But
Um,
nobody asked that question. But
Nobody asked about that
yeah.
question, but yes, if it actually also probably will, it will have the taste,
Hmm.
if that makes sense, of whatever you've been up to in the day. Like your body tells you what you've been up to in the day. For
Hmm.
example, if you eat a lot of onions in the day, your discharge as a woman will smell like, probably taste like onion too.
Oh, really?
Yes, 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 yes. If
So
you
should a normal semen smell like maybe starch? What is like? I don't know, but does
Well, it
or
won't. It
does it
won't.
vary for everyone, or that I mean, is there like all semens are supposed to smell this way, or
It would.
would you say it varies?
I wouldn't say it varies. I'll just say
Okay,
that it doesn't. It should have, the ideal one would have a bland smell.
okay,
You know,
okay.
it's the women that we have the acidic pH, so that
So
when it comes together, it gives
mhm,
it a different smell.
smell.
So if you're talking about semen that is just coming from the penis, that will
Mhm.
probably have a bland smell. It's not mixed with acid from the woman's vagina, if that makes sense.
So does it mean that if a semen has a smell, then that means the person has an issue?
It just, no, I wouldn't say
Okay,
that.
okay.
It means we know what you've been up to, if that makes
Oh, okay,
sense. So because if you're into alcohol or you're drinking
okay.
lots of alcohol, the semen, it thins it out, it thins your semen
Okay.
out, and then it
Okay.
also gives it some kind of smell
Mm,
as well,
mm,
also if you're uh I mean, you're into like smoking and all of those things, like poor lifestyle. Let me just put it under that poor lifestyle, marijuana, using hard substances, including alcohol, talk like drink it to the point where probably you're having like 8 bottles at a sitting. That kind of alcohol level is what I'm talking about. Not like, just taking a glass of wine. That's not what we're talking about, right? So if you're on that kind of level, then yes, definitely it can affect not just the smell, but it can actually disturb quality of sperm production. Everybody can have a semen, but not everyone will have a sperm in it, if that makes sense. So everyone will have a semen, but not everyone will have good motile sperms or swimming in it. So all these kind of behaviors can affect the content of the semen. The smell of the semen is probably one way to say that, okay, you did this or you did that, or you're not clean enough, But it doesn't necessarily mean that we have the quantity of what's in there. Now, the only way to know where you stand with regards to your sperm analysis is that you have to have a sperm analysis for us to know that, okay, this is the kind of quality of sperms you have, because there's some sperms that don't have tails, and you have to look through like microscopic things to see how
mm.
it's wonderful when you look in uh, through things like that, and then you can actually tell that, oh, like this sperm is not actually a full complete sperm. It actually shapes your mind differently as a medical person, like, oh,
Mm.
I need to actually take good care of myself, basically.
Wow. So last week, Lady Riti said something. She said that is important because, specifically for women that maybe are married or are in a relationship and trying to conceive, and it's not, no, conception is not taking place.
Mhm.
And she advised that women should actually touch it, feel it. I'm sorry, I'm actioning it out, because
Mhm.
touch it, feel it. I mean, do whatever it is you want to do to it to be sure that everything is. So I didn't realize that that was actually a thing.
Mhm.
And I say this to say, not to be ignorant. I mean, I didn't know,
Mhm.
because I'm like, I don't I don't see why I would want to touch it.
Mess with that.
Right. But from her standpoint, it's important to do that, because there are too many women being tagged with being barren. Okay,
Mhm.
you can't conceive, being maltreated,
Mhm.
disrespected, being abused. Going through all kinds of things, being shamed. Right. With the issue of being able to produce,
Childlessness.
childlessness, and
Mhm.
many families, including our own, we women, our families do not realize that being not being able to produce a child does not necessarily doesn't 100% depend on the woman, but
Mhm.
it also depends on the man as well.
Yes.
And so most times when you're married or when you're of age, everyone is telling you give birth, give birth, give birth,
Mhm.
but you may never know that this person is trying and it's not happening. And
Mhm.
sometimes they don't realize that it's not necessarily the woman's fault.
Mhm.
That the man is also, Joe, you think, and I said this last week, I said, Joe, you may think that as a man, you're going 10 rounds, 20 rounds, 15, 10, 5, 6, what have you. And you think that you're really hammering or you're doing a good job, but then only come to find out that, listen, dude, you're not doing anything,
No.
So I wish that things like this, and that's why I'm so passionate about the chat room, because we educate, we
Mhm.
teach people, we want to learn you
Mhm.
know and sadly people rather go join on issues where people are insulting and fighting and all that. But for those that can benefit from our conversations, I really pray though, and we want to also raise our sons and our daughters to understand these various aspects of life, that if you get married and your wife or your husband, your conception is not taking place, don't
Mhm.
just start blaming it on one person. I don't know where we got that idea from. Don't
Mhm.
just start pointing fingers at the woman. Don't just start pointing fingers at the man. You both should do your homework, do your research, consult a doctor and try to work together. Because I find that most time it's like all the toil is usually placed on the woman, and it's like you're dealing with everything. And we
Mhm.
understand that when you're stressed, when you're depressed, when you're dealing with anxiety, chances are you're not going to conceive.
Mhm.
The man could be doing the work, but conception is not going to take place, because when you are stressed, meant this thing called sex, or wanting to reproduce, you have to have a sound mind to be able to do it.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to add that to that. Professor Felix,
Okay.
thank you.
Oh,
But go ahead. No, you go ahead. I was going to read a comment, but I'll come back when you're done.
okay. So, about prepping towards childbirth. Um, uh, One thing, was it Clara? Was it Clara? Yeah, I think one thing she said was, most times they get checked, or they start looking into reproductive health when they start trying for a child. Yeah, and that's the one thing that I really wanted to touch on. I actually prepared for that as well. Is the fact that don't wait till you're married before you start working towards that. For example, if you know that you're getting married next year, start putting your body in that place where you know that from marriage, you know that you're going into childbirth. Get yourself your OBGYN, get checked, run all the tests, know what is wrong with you. If nothing is wrong with you, make sure you're on your supplement, eat well, exercise, sleep, rest, drink a lot of water, stop sodas, put yourself in that routine for as long as it gets you. So once you get to that point, you're not rushing all these 1 million things at once on your body. Your body is not overwhelmed immediately, because you know that. Because one thing people don't realize is that it's so mental. It has a mental side effect on our women, the issue of childlessness. So I think that is very, very important that you know that, okay, test yourself. As the man, test yourself, and I will test myself too, as part of counseling. be responsible for that decision. Like, don't wait till the pastor asks for your genotype before you know your genotype.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
know about that. Know about your HIV status
Mm,
before
yeah,
your counselor asks for that. Like, put all these things together.
makes
And
sense.
if you've already, like, for example, before we got married, my husband already knew that I had PCOS,
Mm,
and I had already known that I had PCOS way back in 2012. So I
mm.
had already been on a journey of taking care of
Working.
myself long time ago,
Mm,
you know. And so I always tell my friends, I said, don't wait till that time.
mm,
Just keep taking good care of yourself
mm.
before then. That way, when you get to that point, you already know that you're doing all the right
And
things.
ahead, yeah, yeah,
And at least that's going to be a source of comfort for you, that you know that at least there's nothing wrong with you. Because guess what? You've already checked.
yeah.
You know that there's nothing wrong with you. But and there are also some men that will not check, and then they hide it with ego, or they feel like if the wife says, go and get it checked, I bruised your ego.
Right. Hmm. Yeah.
We all need to get ourselves checked.
Because to him, he can function, and that's the yeah.
And that's I feel like that's a problem, because you're already married.
Hmm.
But if we were dating and I said go and check and you didn't check, and that's a man, and I didn't care about you, say
Hmm.
you will really,
Yeah.
in fact, quickly go and check just to impress
Yes.
me, isn't
Yeah.
it? But
Yeah.
right now we're already married, so what's the chase, you know?
Yeah.
So that's why
Yes. Yeah.
it's very important that you also get yourself checked. Now, apart from, there are lots of supplements in town. There are lots of education about different supplements.
Yeah.
Every day there are new ones
Yeah.
coming through. I would say that as much as you're in your waiting season, be careful what you put inside of your body, and
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
cancer is very real,
Yeah.
and um, you also want to be very, very careful what will how do I put this? Some things might have a heterogenic effect on kids later
Yeah.
on,
Yeah.
or on fetuses,
Yeah.
or basically what I'm saying is, then break it down, is the things that we take can actually have like an abnormal effect on babies that we tend to carry.
The long-term effect. Yeah.
Yes. So if you want to, don't let the pressures from family, friends weigh you down. And that's why I said that it is more of mental
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
physical when it comes to that point.
Yeah.
You really need somebody that will shape you to become a mentally strong woman, because
Mm,
it is not easy.
mm,
And you're living in a space or a place like America, where your bills are calling, you have work responsibilities, then family pressures, all these things can really bring you down, really. Um, do you want me to go further with preparing for marriage and childbirth, or do you have another?
yes, we can do that, but let's take a quick commercial break. Can you
Okay,
hear me? Okay. All
yes.
right, family. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We're looking at reproductive health. Please start testing your men's semen. Start testing it. Test it, touch it, feel it. Do all the do all the gymnastic skills you can to it. That was just by the way. No, but this is good education. Thank you so much. And to everyone that's commenting, Miss Linda, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you for tuning in to those on Facebook and then on YouTube. And I try to go live on TikTok sometimes, but I don't know what happens. Sometimes it gets on, sometimes it doesn't. So if you're on TikTok and you can hear me, thank you. Tonight we have Miss Kaki. She is First Lady Grace Aidoo. Yes, that's her. But if you know her by Kaki, that's fine. Kaki, she said, is her middle name. I did not know that's her middle name. I just thought it was a stage name. Um, like people usually have a stage name, but it's actually her real name. So yes,
It
now,
is.
now we know that's her real name. Before we take a break, who wants her to do a freestyle? Which
Oh,
part? Do
like
we
I
want
said,
her to do a
Mary, you're
freestyle?
actually the one that wants the freestyle. Mary is actually the one.
Anybody wants a freestyle? Okay. Well, if let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I'm sure we'll get our answer here. We'll get the yes, and we'll be right back.
Okay.
Yo, yo, yo. Now your matter with the talk. Your life, your wahala, your breakthrough, the day. Welcome to the chat room. This no be ordinary place. Now a solution they show face. LadyMary they lead the way. With guess where go blow your brain. Talk your matter make we solve 'em. No judgment, just love and wisdom. We they discuss, we they learn. Every episode you gon' feel the burn. Oh, the chat room. Now here we define the way. Oh, the chat room. Oh yes. We go talk and clear, no delay. No delay. Oh, it's interactive, educative, informative, and unapologetic. Oh.
It's interactive, informative. This right here is the chat room. We come live every Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you all for tuning in. And we got 2 yes. Well, I'm the third person. Yes, we got 1, 2, 3 yeses. Yes. I only know, honestly, the too much part is my favorite. Is it because that's the only thing I can understand? Oh,
Maybe.
Okay.
Or maybe that's what resonates with you.
Okay. Should I give you a beat?
Oh wait, when we finish the education, okay.
She said let's wait. She's not running away today. Okay, let me see something. She's not running away today. She is not running away today. This woman will not run away from us. Anyway, says go ahead. Let's go into your next topic.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
If
you.
she runs away, I'll play it for you guys. Okay, and we just make sure she dances.
Okay. So preparing for marriage and childbirth.
Yes.
I think that couples should be able, like we were saying earlier, couples should be able to discuss their fertility expectations. They should also be able to, talk about family planning, their medical history, their genetic conditions, their mental health, and their lifestyle habits. Because guess what? If someone has bipolar, tendency is they could have a child with bipolar too. Okay. So mental health is very, very important. Then also, you also want to be doing, aside the discussions, you also want to be screening. What are we screening for? You can screen for, in fact, you should screen for HIV. You should screen for hepatitis, STIs, your blood group. You should know your blood group and your rhesus. You should also know, you should also know your genotype as well. And then you should also be able to screen towards any fertility concerns. For example, if someone has PCOS, you should be able to check things like your hormonal levels, your progesterone levels, your blood glucose, all these things. They should be able, and if the man also has low sperm production, he can actually have a sperm analysis to discover where he is when it comes to quality production of sperm. So early awareness will prevent future complications. When it comes to emotional readiness, it is very, very essential in reproductive health because then it promotes a healthy one. You want to be emotionally matured. Love is not enough. You want to be emotionally matured because sometimes what we don't realize is that there are people that are married, they're in love, obviously, yes, they love themselves, that's why they got married. And then they're faced with one reproductive complication or the other. And then one person changes, there's some sort of abuse and all of that. As much as it gets the toll on the other person who's receiving, it also says that the person that is given the abuse is not emotionally matured about the situation.
Yeah.
So emotional maturity is very, very essential when it comes to a healthy reproductive life. Why? Because it will actually promote the peace and the stillness that you need within your body to know that, and also resonate a lot of hope for the future that you guys are in you're already in expectance.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also it also requires a lot of communication. And this is to say that, for example, there has been issues where people will start marriage with, say, for example, let's just say, okay. Now, okay, let me give you numbers so you can understand what I'm saying. When it comes to sperm production, if you have 3 million or less, we're looking at is a bit low. Okay. If we're having like maybe 5 million or more, okay, that's okay. You know what I mean? So there are people that will start marriage with, say, maybe 10 million sperm production. Now, along the line, they're faced with some kind of thing, their lifestyle changes, they're into alcohol, they're into some kind of substances, they're into some kind of lifestyle, or they're under so much stress. Or the men that have lost their production due to a car accident. 2. 3, there are also some men that have lost the production due to exposure to heat. Now, the reason why the balls is outside the body is because it is actually cooler than the rest of the entire body. And it is usually about 1 to 2 Celsius, which is about, I think, 2 to 4 degree Fahrenheit, and so it's supposed to stay that way. If you work in a situation, or you're always in some kind of task that is always putting heat around the balls, heat can actually destroy sperm production. Basically, that's the summary of everything that I'm saying. So that puts the
No wonder why there are some tribes that actually leaves that alone. They don't wear anything and just
I
really
mean,
let it
if you look
out.
at it, our mothers too, when like if you have a brother, or when it's time to sleep, your mom will probably say, "Go and sleep. Like feel free, or let air pass through."
Yeah.
Now it makes sense because before you're like, "Well, it doesn't make any sense." Yeah, but yeah, a lot of heat production can actually destroy.
Wow.
Overexposure to heat can destroy sperm production. I got it mixed up. Sorry.
That makes sense. Oh, that's fine.
Yes. So the reason why I talked about that was because if something changes, usually with women are more open than if something changes with men.
Yeah.
And so keeping that communication transparent and real is good, because then it doesn't take a toll on that mental health on the other person thinking she's the problem.
Right.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So communication is very, very, and still very, very important in emotional readiness towards a healthy reproductive life. Then there is the mutual respect aspect, where you need to be able to respect your partner's reproductive health decisions that they make. Because remember at the beginning we talked about, if you know your body, you're able to make good decisions for yourself. It's one thing, it's very difficult, or let me just put it this way. It's easier when you make decisions for yourself as a single person. Then now you get married, and then now it's more or less like you don't own your body type.
You need consent most of the time. Yeah.
Exactly. So there should be a mutual respect where both part or the couple can understand that before we came together, basically they would have had this discussion, or in the beginning. So it would be easier to just go with the flow towards a mutual respect towards each other. Then there's the financial stability. Anything infertility is very expensive.
It is.
It is very expensive. So by God's grace, if you don't have to go through that, thank God. But there's still some women and families that are going through it, and it's very, 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 very expensive. as much as other countries, someone will say, oh,
It's cheaper here and there.
cheaper here and there. I won't even say it's cheaper. I would say it's relatively affordable because it's still very expensive.
It
You know.
is.
So when we're talking about infertility, that also, once you get to that point where you're talking about all these problems, you also want to uh, do your own research about the path that you guys are planning to go into, and if you're financially ready for it. Because, and then also, the number one thing that you should know is that it is not guaranteed that you
Yeah.
spend this amount of money
You're going
and
to
then
get
you
what
will
you're
have a
looking for.
child.
It's true.
Exactly. Sometimes you spend times 5 before you get the child you're looking for. So it is very, very essential that you understand that kind of toll that it can have on the family going forward. You know, having to go back and forth 5 times, 10 times, 12 times. That alone can
It's a
affect,
lot.
like, you know, yes, exactly. And then also remember that as you do all these things, and then it's having a toll on you, in the same way, you're probably not also strong enough to probably work. So if you're not strong enough to work and there's no money coming in, then obviously it's probably going to be a heavy toll for you. So these are all things.
And if you're not lucky, you have to deal with Yanum for, and then maybe
You
the
know, yeah.
mm,
And sometimes too, there are women that have actually tried the IVFs maybe 10 times, 5 times, 6 times,
yeah,
even maybe one time, and they
yeah,
still end up with deep vein
right,
thrombosis, DVT.
yeah,
You know, so there are complications on it because, and that's why it's very essential that the men understand an entire reproductive health so you can be able
yeah.
to give the support that is
Support they
needed.
need.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because these kind of medications that they take tend to have issues with their kidneys,
right.
you know. And
Wow.
even if, say, it was successful with triplets or
Yeah,
quadruplets or twins, it still does have an effect on the kidneys, regardless. Because triplet pregnancies have effect on the woman's
it does.
entire
Yeah,
body
body.
and the organ because she's sharing amongst 4 people.
Right.
So it's
Ah,
very, very the women go through a lot.
no, it's a lot. Because
Mhm.
sometimes you you ask yourself. I usually tell people, listen, when people get married, I tell them, don't allow anybody to pressure you. With the reason being that the moment you get married, when are you having a child? You
Mhm.
have that one child, and people are asking, when are you going to have the next child? You have
Exactly.
that one child, and you get pregnant within 6 months. They're like, oh, you didn't even wait for your child to grow. So listen, guys, do what pleases you and your
Period.
spouse.
Yes.
It's not about the external, no external family. No, 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 it's not. Because at the end of the day, I always say that people that always ask people, when are you going to give birth? It's not like when I give birth, you're going to come move in my house to babysit for me. When I'm
Mhm.
looking for a babysitter, you're not going to be anywhere. You're not
No,
going to be available. So
no.
people need to learn. Listen, allow people to talk because regardless of what you do, you will talk.
Mhm.
You can give birth and you choose to get pregnant 6 months after, whether it's by mistake or by choice. Listen, people will, oh, she did not even wait. If the
Mhm.
child is 3 years old, they'll be asking when are you going to do what is best. So that is where what she's saying comes in. It's so important. The spouses should understand each other. The men should understand the entire process so that you know where to give the help when she needs it because
Mhm.
it's a lot.
It
And
is a lot.
I took that deep side because I mean, you talk about the kidneys and all that. Imagine someone that's desperately looking for a child, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you get it. And then some way, somehow, you only come to find out that, this process that you went through to get these precious children
Give you a
later has a
complication.
side effect that the complications can affect your kidneys. So
Mm.
then what are the chances of you? This is not to scare anybody from going to get whatever they want to do. Do it all by all means, but we're saying that understand the process,
Mhm.
so that you're ready for it. Because you go for it, you have the children, you're happy. Then later down the line, as they are growing and you're enjoying life, you are hit with kidney or whatever disease, and then you have. I mean, who's going to take care of the kids? So
Mhm.
it would have to come to a point where both couples will really have to decide what is best for them. You
Mhm.
know, what's best for them. But that's just what I wanted to.
And I like the fact that you talked about, like people will talk, they'll say, oh, you just had one, when is the next one coming? I'd like to introduce that into the next thing that I want to talk about, which is the primary infertility and the secondary infertility. So the primary infertility, basically, you're married or you've never had a child before. And then there's also like the secondary infertility where you have one or you have two, but the third one isn't coming.
Yeah.
Sometimes the causes are unknown, and that's how you know the causes are unknown is you go and get checked. They say everything is
Everything
fine.
is fine.
Everybody is fine.
Yeah.
So there might actually be some underlying issues, and there might actually be no underlying issues. In any ways, the one thing that I have a problem with as a psych or mental health practitioner is the fact that people tend to weigh both options and say that, okay, the primary has no child, so that's worse than the secondary, and then the some secondary will say that, oh, I have one and you don't know what I'm going through, medically. And so basically all I'm trying to say is that everybody's point is valid, and the amount of pain that one is going through in a primary infertility situation, somebody in a secondary can actually go through times 4 of that as well, and also vice versa. So, but then the consolation is that the secondary has one, and then the primary has none. Then, if you look at it from a different angle, where, okay, you haven't really tasted pregnancy before, so then you don't actually know, you know that you're missing a baby, but you don't actually know the feeling of what you're missing. Then with the secondary, you've actually been through it before. The pain of I didn't struggle to get the first one. What is wrong with my body? What's wrong with me? And that alone takes a different mental health on both women. So I say that both women's mental health problems is very valid and should be addressed differently. Never ever compare primary to a secondary, because they all have their pain in a different set of jar, and it's all very, very precious to each one of them, is what I would say. And we tend to do that a lot in the society. Like you said, when is the next one coming? You don't even know if they are trying. You don't know what pain they're going through. You don't know what processes they're in. Instead of asking, maybe say a prayer for the family. Instead of asking them, just say a prayer. With talking about stressful relationships that can negatively. Wait a minute. So we talked about the healthy. Let me back up a little bit more. We talked about emotional readiness, and then I talked about the fact that emotional maturity, communication, financial stability. Then we also want to look at the fact that if the relationship becomes very stressful, or you're not able to handle these things appropriately, it can have a negative effect on your libido, on your mental health, on your hormones, on your sexual function, and of course, your fertility. There's some of the myth that I would like to debunk on this platform, because I know that this platform is well listened to and is a very educative one. So infertility myth that I would like to debunk on this, use your platform to debunk, is the fact that one of the most damaging myths in our cultures is the fact that the woman is responsible. If pregnancy delays, then the woman is responsible. That belief has caused so much emotional abuse, like you said earlier. It has caused some divorce cases. It's caused isolation, depression, domestic violence. Now, male infertility contributes to about 40 to 50% of infertility cases. And then the female infertility also contributes similarly in the same way. So sometimes both partners are contributing, and sometimes no exact cause is found. The causes of most male infertility, like we said earlier, low sperm count, poor sperm movement. So you can have the count, but if they're not moving properly, that can also affect hormonal imbalances. The man is probably going to say, what hormones do I have? Men do have hormones. Yes, it's testosterone. And if it's imbalanced, then we have a problem. Smoking, alcohol, obesity, diabetes, untreated STIs. And in fact, I'm trying to remember this particular STI. Syphilis is a very dangerous one. Syphilis is a very dangerous one. If you have syphilis, make sure you treat it and treat it very, very well before you meet with, in fact, make sure it's gone. Because what people don't realize is that syphilis can complicate into your brain. Syphilis can complicate to the fact that if you sleep with your woman and she gets pregnant, the child using that passage can get blind due to syphilis. Syphilis is not something to joke with. So untreated STIs is very, very, very important. Also, the heat exposure that we talked about and certain medications. Even tight clothing, prolonged laptop heat, and excessive sauna can affect sperm quality. And then, of course,
How about the, in women, the laptop portion?
yes, the laptop portion.
Yeah.
Laptop. Do you know? I'm guilty of that. My husband is always taking my laptop off me, but yes, it's not a good habit. It's not a good habit because our abdomen or our pelvic region literally sits there. It's the number one cause of cancer. I mean, though cancer is unknown, but then these are some of the things that can contribute to that because the laptop has radiations, you know. So if you have what do you call it, a laptop or something that the laptop can sit on, is better and is healthier for you. Or just set it on the table. Same with your phones. Same with your phones. Same with your phones. also causes of female infertility. Women may experience infertility due to PCOS, endometriosis, fibroids, blocked tubes, hormonal disorders, thyroid diseases, advanced maternal age, and pelvic infections. So with the blocked tubes, I would like to say that someone's going to say, hey, if my tubes are blocked, what can be done for me? It's a very simple procedure called, it's a laparoscopic hysteroscopy. So literally, you are in a theater. It's literally a day surgery. You don't have to, you know, I'm just trying to paint the picture. And then there comes a catheter that goes through you, and the catheter has a camera at the tip. So and there's a screen, and then you actually see you can actually see which tube is blocked, and then they can open it up as well. Also, the test to check if your tubes are blocked is extremely painful. So and when it comes to fibroids too, it can be anywhere. The size matters. It can be anywhere, and when I say anywhere, I mean anywhere in the uterus. So we have the fundus, we have your fallopian tubes, we have the curve that comes down into your vagina and cervix. So, or cervix and vagina, sorry. So yeah, basically it can be literally in the cervix area, it can be in the vagina area, it can be in the uterus, it can be and in your lining, it can be in your in the midline, it can be in the fundus, or sometimes, and so where the position of your fibroids can determine what kind of process will go through, basically the care that you receive. Advanced maternal age too. As for that one, I would say that good genes, I would say, because sometimes you find people that are like 50 and they're pregnant, and so I would say that good genes and God, obviously God, because sometimes even science can't explain. Right. So, and PCOS is very common. If your child is having, one thing I forgot to mention, if your child is having a period at 8 years, you have to immediately check what you're giving her for her food. Um, yeah,
Okay.
your child is having a period at age 8, because before, women will have their period at 15.
15, yeah.
Yes.
Now,
Now, yeah,
mm-mm.
now they're having as early as 8. And that's a sign that you need to be careful what you're feeding them, like lifestyle changes and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Also, the earlier you have your period determines how soon you will be having your menopause.
Mm-hmm.
Because as women, we come with a set of eggs, basically. And so the day you have your period, your eggs start going down. And we all have fixed number of eggs. I forgot what my teaching was back in school, but I know that we do have a set of eggs, and as you menstruate, you start losing. When we're born, we lose a set, which is a primordial, and then once you start having menses, you shed as you go. So the earlier
Hmm.
you have it, if you're having about your menses around 8, you're looking at
Wow.
you're looking at having your menopause very, very early in life.
Hmm.
So that's something to actually consider looking to. Now, if you're at the age of 30, 35, or you're within your 30s, you're not married, you want to get married before you get pregnant. Between the ages of 30 to 38, you have very good eggs. You can freeze your good eggs so that whatever time you are ready to start having babies, you have good eggs that are preserved for
What's
you.
that preserved for?
These are conversations to that people don't actually tend to have, but it really, really goes a long way to help. So you see that someone is 40, and then they maybe they did an IVF and it worked for them. They probably stored some good eggs
Yeah.
back. So storing eggs is a good way to go, so you don't feel like I'm behind and all of that. You can go through life knowing that you have some very good eggs that are stored nicely for you for whenever you need them. Um,
Wow.
yeah.
You know, I I think that freezing of egg is a conversation we might want to have another time, like on a
Okay.
show. No,
Hmm.
it's really important. I don't
Hmm.
think people realize that. So it's something I've been thinking of, and I believe that it's a conversation that we would have to talk to you and see when hopefully it's not next year, when next year available, and then we'll
No.
go to the chat room. But I just quickly wanted to say thanks to everyone that is tuning in. If you're still hanging with us, until this time is 5:26 already.
Oh
We
wow, time flew so fast.
Mhm. It's 5:26 already, and we appreciate you for commenting, for liking, for sharing. If you came late, it's never too late. Please go ahead and just click on the share button and share it so that someone else can have access to it. Tonight, we're looking at reproductive health with our own First Lady Aidoo. Her name is Grace. She is Grace indeed. And her middle name is Kaki. She doesn't want to sing the song, so I'm going to play the song myself. And I don't want anybody coming here to say, "Oh, so if Mommy Mary is playing, um, I'll play it myself." Or maybe I'll just give you go to YouTube, type K. Should I spell that? Okay, type Kaki on YouTube and then look for too much. Look
K
for too much. You're
A
good.
A K I E.
Yes, K. Please, you're going to love it. Yes, please. Me, all I know is the too much part because I definitely it will get you moving. But tonight we're having an amazing conversation. She said so much. Please, if you didn't hear anything, I just want to encourage you. Do well as a man, as a spouse, to make sure that you are understanding our system as women so that you know when to offer help and how. And then maybe understanding that whole process will teach us patience, so you're not in a hurry to go look for that old girlfriend or whoever it is, that person that your mom is trying to hook you up with so bad. You're not in
Right?
a hurry to jump on that, please. We'll do our homework. Let's do our homework. Thank you so much for coming. Do you want what will be your last words for us before we?
Um, I will say that, I mean, we said a lot, but I'll
Mhm.
say that for women who are trying to conceive,
Mhm.
I wish you all the best, and may you find consolation in, may God give you consolation in places that you least expect, basically.
Respect.
Also, this is to also tell my men that reproductive health is not only a women's issue, but then again, and also it's not only about childbirth, it's a family issue, it's a community issue, it's a health issue, education or educating our kids, adolescents, will help prevent a lot of unforeseen problems, and will also build healthy lifestyle choices for them. And if you should have any problem within your reproductive health journey, um, an early treatment can protect your future, especially if you're able to discover it early. So please, let's involve our time into that, into paying attention to our body, and help improve the quality of our own lives. And let's also not stop educating our adolescents and young adults as our future generations become healthier and healthier each day. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming.
Thank you for
We will
having
take that
me.
stage and see. Please, can you give us the freestyle before you go? I'm just
I
joking.
can't get enough of me. Marveling after real.
Oh, wait. I was gonna record. I was gonna record it. You said it too fast.
Okay. Them can't get enough of me. Got me whining, bubbling at for real. Swallow the body like a morning pill. Don't bother with it. Go and go ask to see you, yeah.
Wow.
Thank you for
God
having
bless
me.
you.
This was nice. I enjoyed it.
God bless you so much. And yes, you are beautiful. I mean,
Thank you.
thank you.
I really hope that someone could learn. I mean, I hope that,
Trust me.
like, yeah.
Trust me, every time we come here, we get messages, and I know that people learn from here. So, can you give us the name of the bridal fan, one more time?
Oh, it's Milash Bridal Fans on Instagram and TikTok. It's purely handmade. It doesn't go through anybody. I use my beautiful hands to make them, and then I send it out. Yeah. So if you're getting married and you need bridal fans, yeah, you can schedule a consult with me. The link is in my bio and on Instagram. And I do that because I'm very busy. I'm I'm everywhere. Yes. So once I get the consult, I know I have to make the time for the person, basically. So
yes. So, but please, if you don't, even if you follow us and you reach out to me via inbox, if you have my number, I'll definitely get you her information so that you can reach out. She's made me products and they were beautiful. So thank you for coming. I appreciate you.
I'm still waiting on the pictures. I didn't get pictures.
Okay. Oh, wow. It's almost a year. Okay. I'll get you pictures. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Have a good one.
You
Bye,
too.
everyone. May we have a good week. All right. And happy holidays, everyone.
You too. Bye.
Yo. No matter when you talk, your life, your wahala, your breakthrough, idea. Welcome to the chat room.
This no be ordinary place. Now a solution, they show face. LadyMary, they lead the way. With guess where go blow your brain. Talk your matter, make we solve them. No judgment, just love and wisdom. We dey discuss, we dey learn. Every episode you gon' feel the burn. Oh, the chat room. Now here we dey find a way. Oh, the chat room.
Oh yes.
We go talk and clear, no delay. Oh, it's interactive, educative, informative, and unapologetic. Oh, the chat room.